Hello and welcome to my review of the High Grade Gquuuuuux. Yep, that's how you spell it and pronounce it, but odd name aside, is this kit any good? As you can see, it's a bit different from your usual Gundam design and it looks pretty good in my opinion. So in this video we're going to have a quick look at the build itself and then the finished kit once it's done. I'll go into any pros and cons as well as give you my verdict and a bit of a hint, but stick around to the end. This one is a doozy. So looking at the details, this is the main character's mobile suit in the newest anime series Gundam Gquuuuuux. It's on Amazon Prime at the moment, and as the time of this video I think the first 4 episodes are out. This kit cost me like 25 quid, comes on 7 sprues and has a couple sticker sheets, one of which are some marking stickers, and it took me about 3 to 4 hours. So let's get on to the build. I've gone with a bit of a speed edit of my build footage rather than trimming each part's assembly. I hope it demonstrates the build well enough still, and if any of you have any feedback on which way you prefer this or where I trim it into little snippets of each part, just drop it in the comments. So as you can see from the parts below, there's some really tiny bits in this build. It's almost comparable to a real grade. It doesn't have the inner frame, but some of these components are tiny. It does lack the detail of a real grade, but modern high grade have just been piling that detail on. I think Bandai have been really smashing it out of the park with them recently. So again, talking about the Gundam itself, that design is wild, and it's partially down to the design team. So the team that made Gundam Gquuuuuux includes Hideki Anno, I think I pronounced that right, and Ikuto Yamashita, both of who worked on Neon Genesis Evangelion. So for those of you who have seen EVA, as it's commonly known, will know that the anime design is quite unique. It's very spindly and humanistic. And I think that same design methodology has been applied to the Gquuuuuux. It really doesn't look like your typical Gundam. I think it's come out great. I love the design for the Gquuuuuux. I wasn't sure at first, but the more I've seen of it, the more I really enjoy it and I like its uniqueness. So going back to talking about the kit, there are 2 sets of stickers with this kit. One's the usual high grade type stickers, which I usually hate, and a second of these marking stickers, which are similar to the sort of realistic decals you get with real grades. They've got these sort of transparent elements around the edges, so they kind of blend into the plastic, although they do still stick out. And they're used for all the red detailing on the kit. But I thought they were useless. They just wouldn't stay on. They looked terrible when they did, so weirdly, I didn't use the fancy stickers, but I used all the basic bitch ones, like here, on the legs. And I think they look really good. Usually I hate stickers. I try and use some Gundam markers or just leave them off. But on this kit, the basic stickers are really nice. And those decals, weirdly, are awful. They just don't stick on and they don't apply nice. There's something weird about them. I'm not sure. The usual realistic decals you get with real grades or things like the MGSD lines, they stick on fine, so maybe I just had a bad bat. So looking at the build, it's got a really, really cool design. Usually a kit has like an inner frame, even if it doesn't in the model kit itself. The mobile suit is kind of built around that sort of skeleton, whereas this has individual parts for each. Like the calves are obviously supposed to be separate as part of the design than the thighs, and you can see that in the design of the kit. When you start putting it together, I think the antlers in particular on the head really stand out, but the booster pack, that cool little shield looks like something from Tron. The sword designs, which are those crazy like beam effect types. Finished kit, as you can see, like look at the gun. That's not a normal high grade looking gun. It just looks really, really detailed for that line. So moving on to the final thoughts. Overall, this kit is a looker. It poses up a storm, Doesn't matter how much you display the model, it just looks great, regardless what pose you put it in. It comes with that axe, the rifle that you've seen, the shield, as well as 2 of those swords with the cool beam effects. And this design is just super striking. I'm really digging just how left field it is to a typical Gundam. For instance, there's a new manga coming out called Gundam 8, and it looks great, and the mobile suit design is fantastic, but it looks very much like a Gundam. The Gquuuuuux, on the other hand, is its own thing. Like that wild marriage between Evangelion and Gundam. It's got a bit of a design philosophy that just takes something familiar and distorts it into some new, weird and wonderful ways. And that same design philosophy, by the way, is applied to all the other designs, like the Zaku, etc., which all look interesting in their own ways. Special mention to these saw blades, the plastic they're made out of, this translucent glittery plastic. It looks great. It might not show up too well on the camera, but in real life, they're really striking. I like how the sort of handles fit onto the kit as well with these little pegs. They look really good when they're in place, and storage for those sort of things when they're not just a beam handle is usually a bit clunky on kits, but this looks great. Like, it also gives you a chance to see those thrusters and how spindly the mobile suit's design is. So just taking a look at the kit, and we're going to do a bit of a size comparison in a second. So here's the high grade Zaku for scale, as always, and it's a bit bigger than high grade Zaku, but it's about average for a high grade. As you can see, just over 5 inches. There you go, high grade Zaku, it's just under. And it's not going to look out of place mixed in with your other high grade kits, but it will stand out because of that design. You know, like I said, it's incredibly unique. It's not a design that you see often with Gundam, even with the enemy mobile suits. You know, this is a very unique design. So moving on to the final thoughts. I've already gushed over how good this kit is a few times, so it getting a high score might be a tad obvious, but I'd go so far as to say I love this kit. It's got everything you want from a model, both in how fun the build is to how much you can pose it and it still looks fabulous, and the design is just so much fun. So I'm going to have to award it my highest score and give it a must buy. It might be suffering from recency bias as it's part of the hot new anime, but I can't recommend this kit enough. If this doesn't end up high on my top kits of the year, then this year will have some absolute bangers in it. I hope this review's tempted you to pick up one of these kits, and maybe tempted you to drop a like or add a comment or subscribe if you haven't already. So, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Ta-ra!